And welcome everyone to this upcoming Coastal E6 assigned league matchup between the Fallriver Dragons and the Sackville Goones. My name is Connor McKinnon, providing you play-by-play commentary of some 6-on-6 football action here at the Wickwire Field located on the Dalhousie Complex. When you look at the Fallriver Dragons, they have been the obvious favorite. They are 3-0, looking to completely sweep the competition and go up 4-0. And meanwhile, for the Sackville Goones, they sit 1-2 with their current record, only 6 points. So they're only battling for seeding at this point, while the Fallriver Dragons do have the #1 seed and really the cherry on top of the cake, as they say, if they're able to come up with a win today. We'll start with the first offensive possession of the afternoon for the Sackville Goones. A couple of interesting rules for this game that I was able to get access to before the start of this game. It's a 4-down football league, no punting. And the fun part about some of these formations that you'll see with 6-on-6 football is the center can also act as a receiver, but they do have a 2 offensive lineman set, so a guard and center. Then the guard is not eligible for receive. And that is a high snap that goes over the head for the Sackville Goones. Got to make something happen, throws a fire and caught. And to go for a few yards, almost close to the first down marker. But what a play that you see on the replay is that was just too far over the head and have to make something out of nothing. Throws it down the middle of the field, no one there back in coverage. And sometimes as an improviser, the quarterback position, you got to make it happen. The catch made by Julian Higdon. This marks the first reception for the Goones. So 2nd and short, quick handoff up the middle to the right side. Stops on a dime, cuts it back. Tackled by a few Fallriver Dragons, and not before getting the first down. On the carry, Cody Demings gets about 2 or 3 yards and gives it a fresh set of downs for the Sackville Goones. We got one safety back for the current Fallriver Dragons. Steps back, has a throw, and that was a big hit down the middle. The intended receiver on the play, Brennan Rice, but laying the boom in the backfield, the safety for the Fallriver Dragons. You'll see on the replay, I believe it was post route that was being run, and just absolute slam by the safety. And that's the problem. Almost would call that a hospital ball, where you put your receiver in a helpless position, and thankfully was able to get up just fine after that play. Here's a snap, another quick handoff out to the left side, makes one tackler miss, cuts it up and gets a few more yards. Almost trying to go for the second consecutive first down, 3rd and short. Talking to one of the coaches, the hype coach actually for Fallriver Dragons, Nick Kays, a.k.a. The Show. He was talking a lot about this team and their desire to win a 1. You see a screen with a couple blockers up ahead, and that's an easy first down completion. Another catch for Julian Higdon. Not many, only one incompletion so far for the Sackville Goones right now. They've been so far so good. Throwing the football and looking, takes a shot down the middle again, and that's another completion for this Sackville Goones squad. A gain of about 7. Actually, looking about a 2nd and 2. Right now, the Fallriver Dragons a little bit stunned here with the pressure that this Sackville offense is bringing to them now, thanks to some great plays from Demings, who's been able to get open on a screen and almost a fumble to pass earlier, and another hit, but there is a flag on the play, so hold on a second. It is a first down based on the yardage, but they might be coming back with this one. There's a penalty. They'll take it 10 yards back. It makes it a second and very long. About, at a guess, second and 14, close to a second and 15 yardage-wise. Here comes the snap. Looking deep. And that is intercepted. Fallriver Dragons come up with a timely interception. There's blockers up in front. Makes one man miss. Is willing to take on all of the tacklers and still on his feet. No one brought him down. Interception made by Mitch Kays, a.k.a. Unk. And that switches the sides of the field for the Fallriver Dragons. You see on the replay of the previous possessions here. We'll try to get to a replay here shortly. Fortunately, that ball was floating a little bit too long in the air, and it was too easy right in the bucket for Mitch Kays. That's the first turnover created by a defense today. Still in the first quarter with 13:05 to go. Now we get a look at the Fallriver Dragons offense. Handoff up the middle, and a gain of about a few for Liam Kays. We'll say the fun part about this Fallriver Dragons team is the litany of nicknames that we have. So we have Kevin Dickens, number 99, a.k.a. Beast Mode. Mitch Kays is known as Unk. Logan Strawbridge, Stro. And there's a nice completion made all the way over for a first down for the Fallriver Dragons. As you see on the replay, drop back, looking through the coverage, and the lefty delivers. Catch made by David Davo. Snap, looking. A lot of time, fires down the middle, bobbled and caught. Nice play you see on the replay. Easy find down the middle, and that was an acrobatic catch made. That was not easy. Steven Sorson coming up with the play. Brosser McDonald, the starting QB for the Fallriver Dragons, has looked sharp at the shotgun formation. Another inside zone handoff as Tank was trying to lay the shoulder down but denied. A good play by the corner to prevent from any yardage. Textbook tackle. As you can see, Liam Kays, a.k.a. Tank as we call him, was delivered a big hit. Well, got recipient of a big hit from the defense. Fortunately, we don't have a number for number 22, but it also is a starting quarterback for the Sackville Goones. And now threatening to score. Another play, and that was almost thrown into no man's land, almost picked off. Cody Demings in the mix, also starting as a running back for the Sackville Goones. You'll see the replay here, decision right to the left, and that's always what's extremely dangerous for a quarterback when you don't have the time to set your feet, plant, and make a decision to throw. Throwing on the run, unless you have a very talented arm, is usually pretty frowned upon, and that was a turnover-worthy play, but they still have possession, threatening as they are right in the red zone. Snap, another handoff again. A lot of space down the right side. And that is good for a rushing touchdown for the Fallriver Dragons, thanks to the play of number 9, Liam Kays. You'll see simple play. They've ran it several times, a simple inside zone run, but got blockers from the offensive guard along with the wide receiver, and that's too easy. Fallriver Dragons successful on their first offensive possession, thanks to a turnover from Mitch Kays who had an interception. And they'll go for 2. Pump fakes, no one open. A lot of time behind to wait for someone to get there. Directing traffic is McDonald. Just jogging it around and finally finds someone wide open. That's caught, but there is a flag on the play. The initial catch made by Steve Sorensen, who earlier in this drive had a bobble catch. And we'll see who the penalty is on. Most of the time in this particular scenario, it's going to be always on the offense. You see the replay of it as you can see Sorensen just took it from his teammate. He picked off his own teammate on the play. You can see the offensive unit for the Fallriver Dragons taking a few steps back. Don't think there's any rules about how long the quarterback can keep the ball. That's never really a rule in any league. Is just looking at some of the rules. The only thing about like the quarterback position specifically to monitor is the QB can't run unless pressured. It has to run outside the pocket and not up the middle. And you can see for Prosser McDonald, didn't run up the middle, was directing traffic and trying to find an open man. And after all that time and the conference by the refs, he'll get another chance at completing this 2-point conversion. McDonald steps, a blitz coming quickly, trying to make something out of nothing, and tackled for a loss. The Sackville Goones coming up with a huge stop to prevent an extra point. You'll see here on the replay of it. And still a 7-0 lead for the Fallriver Dragons. And no one was there to be able to pick up the blocker. A good play by McDonald to initially get that first defender off his back, but finished off by Cody Demings, who's made a few plays. He's not only has that tackle for a loss, but almost had the interception on the same drive that ended up with the Fallriver Dragons scoring on that play. And there you have it, a 7-0 lead. Because didn't get the conversion, so we'll check on the score here shortly to make sure they have the scoring rules. But as we currently have it, 7-0, could be 5-0. And there's a tackle, and you now will see the Sackville Goones for the second straight offensive possession. So after some decision making, it's a touchdown, which should be 6 points, and they go for the 2-pointer, which didn't go, so it's now 6-0. We'll confer with the league on this before we make final scores, but we know up in that pass, well defended. You had Xavier Kays, also known as Weapon X, with the pass deflection on that first down pass. Yeah, it was good defensive coverage, but it seemed it was more the lack of a play made by Demings. Got a hand on it. It wasn't the most perfectly placed ball, but we'll have to wait and see. A toss play. Defense all over it. Fallriver Dragons stopped them for maybe not even half a yard. But the defense right now is currently eating for the Fallriver Dragons. A 3rd and long. Again, this is a 4-down league. No punting. So if they're not doing this, it's a 4th down. They don't get it. They turn it over on downs. And the Fallriver Dragons look to operate. Here's a deep go route down the middle. Could it be another interception? No, almost. As you saw there, Mitch Case trying to go for the 2nd interception. The intended receiver on the play is Cordy Marsman. Jog it back. You'll see the replay. Just trying to take a deep shot down near the sideline. The safety coming over to help. And the worst part about that play, if you're Marsman, and it was in his hands, just could not get to go. Now this is a 4th down situation. A brief conference from the offense. As they switch to the opposite side. This brings up a 4th down, critical down here. Not much so far has been working. Actually, well, if you look back in that first drive for the Sackville Goones, what worked well for them in that first quarter was being able to attack down the middle, and that is where a lot of successes lie. They've also had a few runs here and there, so maybe they could attack down the middle, but it's tough when they have a very good safety in the backfield for Fallriver Dragons who can lay some hits on this receiving core. Here's a snap. Looking down towards the middle of the field, there was a man open intended for Chris Hurley, and just too far. And that's a turnover on downs, and it gives Fallriver Dragons a chance to try to go up over 2 scores on the Sackville Goones. Because not only we have this game coming up, we do have another game that's supposed to be starting around 8:30 against the Halifax Pirates and the Dartmouth Golden Eagles. Depending how this game goes, that could be a battle for who finishes 2nd place. So do not go anywhere. Again, this is a Coastal East 6 side league game. This is their inaugural season. And a shout out to Maritime Athletic Profiles for producing this matchup. And the QB is going to run it all the way in for 6. Maybe just a tad bit short. We'll wait to get the official designation from the referees. But there you see Prosser McDonald was getting pressure, and you are allowed to run on the outside. And they're going to actually give a penalty on that. Must have been an illegal play. As even we have some fans here asking what the penalty is, and we'll hopefully get some clarity from the officials. It's never fun being a referee wearing the zebra-striped uniforms. Yeah, 10-yard penalty. Still a 1st down, though. McDonald, the handoff. So plenty of space, and my oh my, the tank doing what he does best. Liam Kays already with 1 rushing touchdown, looking to add 2 on the day for himself. You'll see on the replay, just no one there, and good blocking up ahead from the receiving positions as well. That is one aspect that has been very impressive. You go back to that first touchdown drive for the Fallriver Dragons, is the blocking you get from your receivers. You look at, I hate to always use the NFL because we are in Canada, because most talk about the CFL, but if you just talk about any position in football, one of the most underrated parts about any game is not only getting blocking from your offensive linemen, but it's the receivers down the field. If you look at the Philadelphia Eagles this past season, one of the reasons they are so successful is their ability to have wide receivers to block. But now, here on the next possession, that's wide open, trying to make one man miss and just a tad bit short. Pretty close to a touchdown. And you could see Kevin Dickens trying to go beast mode on that play, taking a few tacklers with him, and it took 2 to bring him down. They're right near the goal line. Not going to take very much to punch it in. And if I'm the coaching staff, I do an inside zone run easily with the running back, Liam Kays. And they do have a center and guard out there. And they're bringing a lot of pressure from the defensive front from the Sackville Goones. And there's a bobble picked up by Liam Kays, trying to make one man miss, does, and that's the second rushing touchdown for Liam Kays, as that was not an easy play, too. That was a fumble, as they are allowed to celebrate in this league, folks, so no penalties for early celebrations or late celebrations. But here's a replay. So you can see from the initial snap it was low, and McDonald couldn't hand it, but Liam Kays had the wherewithal to pick it up for his teammate and drive it in for 6. So now they did not work out on the initial first 2-point conversion. It resulted in a sack, and they actually had a penalty on the play, so they'll go for their second 2-point conversion try, trying to go in the corner of the end zone. And that is good, a 2-point conversion for the Fallriver Dragons. Beautiful throw from McDonald, able to find the corner. See on the replay, the signal from the referee was good on the 2-point conversion. So currently the Fall River Dragons 1 of 2 on 2-point conversions. And now we switch it over to the Sackville Goones, and it has been a rough go for them. Their first 2 offensive drives resulted in an interception that led to points in the other end. And they went for 4th down, could not get it. And we'll have kickoff here. So Sackville Goones, they have not been able to find. They've been trying to run routes down the middle. There's a couple of post plays that try to run inside slot usually. And they try to attack the middle of the field. And that's where the plays are to be made, but they haven't been able to connect on one yet. Here's a kickoff, similar kickoff style to what the NFL rules have adopted. And there's a good move, trying to go opposite side with it. Pull the jersey, trying to make a few men miss, and does. There's some space on the left side. And a good open field tackle before anything else could have gotten going, made by Devion Van Tonder, linebacker slash kicker. Already with 8:49 only left to go in this first quarter. Check that second quarter. Time flies when you're having fun, folks. What else can I say? I will say I was talking with our producer, Clark, before the broadcast started, as we're just right outside a booth here at the Dalhousie Complex by Wickwork Field, and I will say we don't have the sun, so the wind's getting to us a little bit. But, you know, you prevail through as broadcasters, as that first intended pass is dropped. Looked like a screen setup, and we'll see that on the replay. Yeah, trying to go with the type of screenplay, but the defense is right there and probably smart to drop that pass. It would have been for a significant loss. Here comes the snap. Thought about taking the deep shot down the left side and just a little dump pass over near the flat. And there's a great tackle there. And that is, again, Van Tonder, who made another play on the kickoff to prevent that from going to the house. You see on the replay, it went for the legs. No chance. And currently right now for the Las Vegas Goons, the Sackville Goons, pardon me, and it cuts it up. Good move, a lot of space. And only able to get that was one of the best offensive plays they have had all afternoon, and that's all thanks to Cody Demings. And Cody Demings has been a name we've mentioned throughout this whole game, almost coming up with interceptions, made a few tackles, 2 timely ones at that. Demings getting some good blocking down the field, and now they're already into Fallriver Dragon territory. Problem is, we go back to that first drive for the Sac Vegas Goons. They were able to get 2 first downs, but it led to that interception made by Mitch Case. Also, only have 2 reserves for the Sac Vegas Goons as well. So that also going to play a factor. Different quarterback look, too, changing. A lot of time down the field, good coverage. And there's another play by Demings, this time acting as a receiver. Seems like Julian Higdon is getting the nod at the quarterback position currently, trying to change it up a little bit offensively for the Goons to see the replay of the catch made. Empty set look for this Sac Vegas Goons team. Takes a snap, looks to the left quickly, back to the left. No one open. Yeah, good coverage down the field. There's a throw and almost intercepted, but no, that is caught. And that could go all the way to the house or pretty close to it. And that is a touchdown rule for the Sac Vegas Goons. Unbelievable play that we have here. You can see on the replay, it went through. It should have been an interception, went right through the hands and into a waiting receiver for the Sac Vegas Goons. You don't see that every day, folks. And that is 6 points. And you never know in football. You just need something to go your way. And it looked like all Fallriver Dragons early, but now you have the Sac Vegas Goons just a few points away from cutting this into a 1-possession game. And that quarterback change for the Sac Vegas Goons can make all the difference in the world. As Julian Higdon was the receiver, already caught a few passes, now back. Rolling out to the right, trying to find it, and that is intercepted. And it's called for a stoppage. And that's Xavier Case with the pick on the 2-point conversion. So still a 1-possession game. You see the replay, and the pass was just hanging up in the air way too long, was trying to find his intended receiver, and just too easy for Xavier Case, one of the many Ks on this roster for Fallriver Dragons. A little bit of delay in the action after that touchdown scored. It's probably, if I'm being honest, out of all the offensive plays that we've seen, or just plays in general, that is probably the best play that we've seen all afternoon. And I was not here for the initial games that started when this league did happen, but I put it up there. If we had a top 5 Coastal E6 aside league reel, that would have to be in contention for one of the best plays that we've seen in this tournament. Maybe the fans tuning in on the YouTube live stream have something else to say about it. Also, we do appreciate those who are tuning into this YouTube live stream of this matchup between the Fallriver Dragons and Sackville Goones, competing here in a wick wire field located in Halifax, Nova Scotia on the Dalhousie campus. The kickoff, couple of moves, and almost got near half-field marker, but tackled down before crossing into Sackville Goones territory. And the Sackville Goones have it on that after that kickoff. So now they get a chance to try and tie us in a quick toss out to the right side already, but a flag thrown quickly on the play. So thanks to the turnover on that kickoff, it gives the Sackville Goones prime position. Did not see on the play initially that there was a fumble that was picked up by them, but this is a good turnover. So now turnovers on both sides, and if history were to repeat itself, the Sackville Goones will have a really good chance to try and knot it up. And you'll see on the replay here of the kickoff, yeah, the ball just came out towards the end and it was recovered. Penalty goes against the offense. They go 10 yards back. Another quarterback change. Try to go down the middle with it, and that was up in the air way longer than it probably should have been. It's Tyler Jones was over it. Did have a chance to try and pick it off and go on the opposite side. You'll see on the replay, again, another empty set look with the center back. And the pass was intended for, again, a player that we've talked about quite a bit, Julian Hignon. Looks like a timeout on the field, and with a timeout called here, we'll take a timeout as well. You're watching this matchup between the Fallriver Dragons and the Sackville Goones on a YouTube live stream produced by Maritime Athletic Profiles. We'll be back with more coverage of this Coastal E6 aside game in just a moment. Welcome back here, folks. A 14-6 lead in favor of the Fallriver Dragons, but the Sackville Goones have a chance. They were able to force a fumble and recover it as there is a drop from Hogden. But as we get back to this game in particular, it was all Fallriver Dragons. They scored the first 14 points. Interception led to points. They got the ball back again, and it's thanks to the great play from running back Liam Kays already with 2 rushing touchdowns. But right now, you had the Sackville Goones, who had a miraculous play that should have been picked off, but it went through the cornerback's hands into a receiver and was able to score it for 6, and they failed on the 2-point conversion. And as we stated, we're up to this point, a fumble from the Fallriver Dragons on the kickoff has led them with a chance to try and drive the field, but they're on 3rd down. Some pre-snap motion to get the receivers open. Takes a shot down the middle of the field and brought down immediately, but that is a stick mover for the Sackville Goones. Play made by Cody Demings. Might be a screen option to the left. Decides no. Pressure coming. I'm just going to have to run the outside. There's a lot of space and real estate out for this Sackville Goones, and that is a nice play that has resulted a big chunk of yardage for a 1st down and then some. See the replay, the pressure that was generated by Kevin Dickens, and then it was just scramble drill mode and trying to get as many yards as you can. And this is where the drama gets interesting. You have a team in the Sackville Goones that played the Fallriver Dragons and lost to them earlier on in this inaugural season. And now they are trying to drive and tie this game. And what drama that would be for a team in the Fallriver Dragons that are undefeated in everyone that they played against. And this is what the beautiful part about football is. And 6-on-6 football, too. There's so much space on the field. Even though this is a soccer field, not your traditional football field that you usually play on, there is a lot of ground to cover. It's difficult for a defense, and a lot of times in this particular situation, even when you're playing 6-on-6 football, it's just tough to defend all those players. You can drop everyone back, and if one person's able to get open, it changes the complexity of the game. So after a stoppage in play and probably some conversation to make some adjustments defensively, we'll see how this may result in points. A lot of time to throw the ball down the middle, and that was almost caught. It was into some traffic. The 2 receivers were there. And you see the replay here is taking a shot right down the middle of the end zone, right down Broad Street. And, yeah, there was someone open, and there was actually 2 safeties back for the Fallriver Dragons. And a whistle is blown. And that could be the end of the first half for both of these teams. A shot down late, denied, but we still have a few more quarters to go. So you will step aside as you have a first half. Fallriver Dragons up 14-6, but the Sackville Goones threatening to try and tie. For myself, Connor McKinnon, the crew for American Athletic Profiles, will bring you back with more coverage of this event in just a moment. back, everyone, to the second half of these final two games of the regular season for the Coastal East 6 Aside League. You have the Fallriver Dragons up 14-6 against the Sackville Goones. And to give a recap of what happened, so you had a very strong start from the Fallriver Dragons. They went up 14-0, and that's thanks to the large play of Liam Kays, who has 2 rushing touchdowns on the afternoon, and as well as some great defensive plays made by the Fallriver Dragons to keep the Sackville Goones in check. Even though they have done the majority of the job defensively, you did have the Sackville Goones able to get a score up after failing on their first few drives. They had an interception that led to points on the other end. They had a turnover on downs, so it just was not going on their way. But finally, before the end of the second quarter, you saw the Sackville Goones get on the board, and that was a tremendous play and almost resulted in the second interception of the game for the Sackville Goones. It went right through the hands of a Fallriver Dragon DB into the waiting arms of a receiver and was able to go all the way down the opposite side, get a touchdown. That's where you have those 6 points. And they actually were threatening towards the end of the second half. They had a last-second play to try to target the end zone. Went through one of the receiver's hands, but it was double covered with a few other corners and safeties in the back. So it was close for almost being a tie game. The Fallriver Dragons have a chance to go up even further. And there you have, again, Liam Kays, who has just been a menace, and as his nickname fits him, a tank. That's what he has been. It has taken multiple defenders to try and break him and bring him down, and it has not worked their way. So, listen, I'm on the Fallriver Dragons. I'm just going to ride him till he can't go anymore, because he's been absolutely stellar for this Dragons team. And if you talk about the Sackville Goones, they did have the turnover, but it was a special teams play. It wasn't defensive play. You need to get something. And whether that be sending in a blitz to try to get this quarterback off of rhythm, as you have Prosser McDonald, who has benefited a lot from the run game today, but has made throws when needed, so more pressure is needed. There's another handoff to Liam Kays, and that's another first down, and they still can't bring him down. He was able to use 2 hands to cover up the ball. They're trying to go for a strip, and Liam Kays says no. And the start of this third quarter, very strong from the Fallriver Dragons. 2 first downs, all thanks to the run game. And the Sackville Goones looking for answers defensively. They do have a 2-man front defensively, a center and guard in place. They're trying to send pressure, doesn't get there right away. Good block from Lee Kays, and a pass to an open man, makes a move, tries to cut inside. And a whistle is blown, I would say slightly prematurely, as I don't think the DB there had full wrap or takedown, but a whistle is called. You see on the replay, good throw from McDonald. And you can see the tackle there had him for a moment, but almost was able to break free there. And that's when the whistle was called. But again, you have the Fallriver Dragons in the red zone for the 3rd time this afternoon. They are currently 2 of 2, trying to go 3 of 3. They've converted 1 of their 2-point conversions. Here's a snap. McDonald, miscommunication between the receiver and the quarterback, trying to play some buddy ball, but nobody was there for McDonald. So it'll have to be a 2nd down and manageable. McDonald again back for the second straight pass attempt. And that is intercepted, threw it just slightly behind, and there is a turnover. And who comes up with it? None other than Cody Demings. That is the second turnover they have turned over, and now they'll have a chance to start very deep in their own territory. But this gives the spark that they may need to try and mount a comeback. As you see on the replay, just an incredible play from Demings, as that was not a difficult pass. There was some juice behind the throw from McDonald. And this is, again, the Fallriver Dragons defensively to try to come up with a stop, but the Sackville Goones do have life. This time again you have Higdon back again, has caught a few passes, as well as thrown a touchdown as time played back in the second quarter. Takes a shot down deep. Then there is a penalty. Looks like a potential pass interference. Yep, that is going against the defense. And so that's going to move the ball pretty far up there for the Sackville Goones. See in the replay a lot of time, just takes a shot, and if you don't turn your head around as a cornerback and run into the receiver, that's an easy pass interference call. Not too many penalties have been called. It's been fairly even, to say. A few times that the Fallriver Dragons have had penalties that push them back 10 yards on a hold. Pass down the middle. And there's back-to-back flags on back-to-back possessions, and we'll see who goes on this time around. The offense is not moving, so it's probably going to drive them back a little bit more after getting the beneficiary of the first penalty call on this drive. They're pointing to the defense for a moment. And the offense starting to take those dreaded steps backwards. And finally, after a call that ran a little bit too long, is finally they're going to stop the stoppage and get back to live action. Almost kind of reminds you of a meeting that didn't need to have a meeting. We could have just done this over the phone, or this could have been done over text. Type of situation, but we're back to play. Ogden trying to communicate. A call out to Chris Hurley. Here's a snap from Higdon. Taking a look down that way. There is an open man and caught with two hands. Beautifully placed. And a fumble at the end of the play. That is recovered by the Fallriver Dragons defense. And you thought a brilliant play. And there is another turnover. And that was picked up by Mitch Kays, who now has an interception and a fumble recovery. Acting as a defensive MVP, and what a terrible momentum swing of a play for the Las Vegas. You'll see the replay before it went down. It was knocked out by Tyler Jones. Tyler Jones with the fumble knockout and the recovery by Mitch Kays, a.k.a. Unk. And this sets up the Fallriver Dragons, who just threw an interception on their last drive to start the third quarter, back where they were originally. And here's McDonald, goes outside. Now out of bounds. There's some good pressure there from the Sackville Goones, and the defense came up with a huge turnover, and the offense for the Sackville Goones gave it right back up for the Fallriver Dragons. They're trying to go up by 2 scores this time. So 2 of 3 in the red zone this afternoon for the Dragons. Trying to get their 3rd red zone. They hand it off to Liam Kays. Not a bad option. Goes all the way in for 6. There you have it. Another touchdown for Liam Kays, his 3rd of the day. He has been unstoppable. As you see the replay of the previous play, we'll get you the touchdown here in a moment. See here, just another inside zone handoff to Liam Kays, who probably the person we talk with for post-game coverage. As you can see, the Fallriver Dragons that much closer. They already locked up the #1 seed, but trying to go undefeated in this league. Empty set for McDonald. McDonald, a lefty, takes it, looks, trying to go for 2, fires it deep down the corner, trying to go for the same setup they got their other 2-point conversion on, just a little bit too far. So just 1 of 3 today in the 2-point conversion category. But a 20-6 lead for the Fallriver Dragons, as we will take a little bit of a quick break before we keep resuming some action here in the Sackville Field, located on the Dalhousie Complex. We'll bring you back with more coverage as you're watching this matchup between the Fallriver Dragons and the Sackville Goones on the YouTube live stream. Actually, check that. They're about to. Thought we were going to go for a little bit of a mini stoppage, but we'll keep it here. Not quite like the college football that we're accustomed to after a touchdown, a little bit of break in between, get some commercials in, pay those bills. I can see Nick Kays, the hype coach for the Fallriver Dragons, was crawling on the ground, I think trying to maybe do his best Weapon X impersonation. Famous legendary Brian Dawkins, who played majority of his career with the Eagles and for the Denver Broncos for a period of time. If you're going to brandish the name Weapon X, you better play like it. So for the Sackville Goones, unfortunately for them, last offensive possession in this 3rd quarter was a pass attempt that was completed, but a forced fumble by Tyler Jones and the pickup from Mitch Kays. Mitch Kays, who's able to come up with 2 turnovers today, had interception and a fumble recovery. Been a great day for number 86, who's lined up as an outside corner for the Fallriver Dragons. As the safety was crashing down and has some space, cuts back, some good moves made, and that's what you want to see. Sometimes as a coaching staff, even when you have a player that just had a turnover, you want to get the ball back in their hands. You don't want them to be afraid of getting the football, and that's a sign of veteran coaching. And sometimes when your player makes mistakes, you have to give them the opportunity to try to atone for it, and you can see there getting a touch, trying to shake off some of the nerves. And there is a whistle, so switching out of the fields, and that means we're coming down to the 4th and final quarter here at the Wickwire Field. Here's a quick little handoff. Some trickery, actually, with an end-around play. And that guy gains about 5 or 6 yards. Cody Demings. Been an impact player. Of course, he had the 1 touchdown drive thanks to the throw from Julie Higdon, who does have the lone throwing touchdown today and the only score for the Sackville Goones. But I've seen a lot of play from Cody Demings. Has done a little bit of everything. Has caught the football. Has played defense at a high level. In fact, even had the interception to start this third quarter as the Fallriver Dragons were looking to put up initial touchdown when they were up 14-6 before that interception by Demings. Quick toss and trickery. They're going to have dual quarterback, and there is another play to Demings, who catches it and brought down quickly, but not after the chain gain moves for another 10 yards. I will say what is interesting is that you have both teams who have different color helmets, and you could see that the Sackville Goones, all of them are wearing their patented black helmets with the orange S on it, but for one of the players, they're only wearing a red helmet, and there's another good spin move and brought down. But the only lone player out there that has a red helmet is Chris Hurley, number 9. Decided I'm going to be the out group today and wear the red helmet. And to be fair, if we go to the reserves on the opposite end of the field where you can't see right now, you do have a players also wearing a red helmet. So not completely alone. Ogden receives a snap from his center. Takes a look to his left, pump fakes, and gives it right back to his center as an eligible receiver and brought down quickly. Ogden claps for it, waits, nice little check down pass, and very close to a touchdown, so we'll have a fresh set of downs and 4 chances to punch their ticket into the end zone for the second time this evening. Keep in mind, folks, we do have an upcoming game. Halifax Pirates take on the Dartmouth Golden Eagles. The kickoff approximately 8:30 p.m. I'll be back on the call for this one. We'll have a little bit of a break for that one. A toss and a hit, and that is close, but no ruling of a touchdown. Going to be a tad short. And they give it to their playmaker once again, Demings, number 10. Not sure if the tush push is a legal thing here in this league, a quarterback sneak. Probably not, since a quarterback is not eligible to go up the middle of the field, which is what a sneak would technically do. And there is a handoff, and Demings, the second time around, gets it good. He's been doing it all. He's got now a touchdown, a rushing touchdown, and an interception for him. And that way, they're only now a possession away of tying this game. But very importantly, this 2-point conversion is big. They didn't get the first one, and this is their second time to try and get this try. 2-point try. Here's the pass attempt, and no, broken up last moment. So in order for Sackville Goones to really get back into this, you'll see the replay of it, they'll have to get a touchdown in the 2-point try. They have no other option. If they were able to get the try here, it would have made their lives a little bit easier because they wouldn't have to be so reliant on the 2-point try the third time they'll try to score. But this puts an interesting position for the Fallriver Dragons, as I'm assuming we'll have a little bit more time to potentially get the Sackville Goones another chance to try and tie this game. And based on all the records here, there has been no overtime losses to account for. So 2 touchdowns now for the Sackville Goones. The last one just a rushing touchdown from Cody Demings, and you had a passing touchdown earlier from quarterback Julian Higdon, who's gotten some more playing time down the stretch of this game. Looks like they're just trying to figure out who was going to kick this, or they just needed the tee. And there you go. Looks like Brendan Rice will have a chance to kick it off. And for this Goones team, they did force a turnover in the kickoff. Can they do it again here in the clutch? And that is a short kick. And the ball, because of that, will be placed on the 4-yard line since that did not make its way back to the kick returner. So you have the Fallriver Dragons with good field position. Here's another handoff to Liam Kays, who again takes 2 Sackville Goones players to bring him down, and that's another first down. He has been everything for this offense. 3 touchdowns, all the points you see on the board, thanks to number 9 for the Fallriver Dragons, who locked up the number 1 seed not so long ago, and as we said earlier in the broadcast, if they're coming up with the win, it's just a cherry on the top to be undefeated in the inaugural season of this Coastal East Side League. And they decide to go another handoff to Liam Kays and lost the football, and that is picked up. That is a huge turnover, and we've complimented Kays the entire game, and that is a critical turnover and fumble force. We'll see the replay of this here as Liam Kays lost the handle of it, recovered. The fumble forced by Julian Higdon and recovered by number 22, who unfortunately don't have the roster number 4, as he's been playing a lot of quarterback, and we do have an injury on the field. So that being said, we will step aside. Again, you're watching this Coastal East Side League matchup between the Fallriver Dragons and the Sackville Goones on YouTube live stream, produced by Maritime Life Profiles. We'll be back in just a moment. And welcome back here, folks. So some drama down the stretch. We had to step aside with the injury timeout, but there was a fumble. Liam Kays, who's already had 3 touchdowns in the day, and we're talked about, he's been carrying this football team, had a critical turnover that will now give the Sac Vegas team a chance to try and come back and tie this game as they fake the end around and almost lost the football again, but able to get close to a first down, and they do rule the first down as the sticks move. So two turnovers created by the Sac Vegas Goon team. And again, there was a turnover back in the third quarter from Cody Demings, who also has a rushing touchdown. And that was the initial drive that the Fallriver Dragons had. That they were on their way. They got 2 first down from Liam Kays. And after they were very close to getting a touchdown, a good turnover and timely. And then the other turnover that was forced by Julian Higdon to force the fumble, that is really critical now, because now this gives a chance, as we've mentioned, for the Sac Vegas Goons to get back into this game. But for them, the level of difficulty to tie this is a lot more strenuous than anticipated. So because they have not converted a 2-point try the entire game, they're going to not only have to get 6, they'll have to go for 2, and that will give them a chance to go to overtime. And meanwhile, for the Fallriver Dragons, they had an interception from Mitch Kays as well as a fumble recovery from Mitch Kays. So we're about even in terms of the turnover categories here this afternoon. And I watched football for a very long time growing up, and one aspect of football that is always a certainty is turnovers kill you in this league. And it's open, so no one's up in the turnover margin category, but this can be big here for the Sac Vegas Goons. Chance here, try and tie this game. They try to do some trickery to get the defense looking, and there is a man open, and that just a little bit short, underthrown, as it was intended for the receiver Jordan Kaiser. One of the first times we've seen him targeted, and you'll see the replay here, trying to get the defense with some trickery. It does not pan out. Here's a snap. Second down. They're giving it down the stretch to Demings and gets about 7 yards. Not much time left in this fourth quarter as it is dwindling. This is getting close. They haven't really been able to be effective attacking the outside. They've had chances in the middle. They had the second quarter, at the end of the second quarter, the buzzer beater. They threw not a Hail Mary, but close to it, and they almost came up with a touchdown to tie it or get a chance to tie. And they're calling a timeout right away. So Sackville, or a.k.a. the Sac Vegas Goons, take a timeout with not much time left in this one, as they're trying to get a touchdown thanks to a timely turnover to try and change the tide. So we'll step aside and bring you back with a wrap-up of this matchup between the Fallriver Dragons and the Sac Vegas Goons that you're watching on the YouTube live stream, produced and powered by Maritime Athletic Profiles. We'll be back in just a moment, folks. Well, so much for that timeout, folks, as we come right back into that. Thought maybe we would have a minute timeout, maybe 30 seconds, trying to bask in the sun instead of the cold tundra that we have to the right side. We have no sun here inside the booth. Well, outside the booth, technically. I'll stop complaining. Let's get back to live action. We got some football here, 6-on-6. Here's a chance, and the catch is low but does not hit the ground, and a whistle blows, and that is huge for this Sackville Goones offense as they are driving with a chance. The Goones with a huge opportunity down the stretch. The quarterback takes a snap, fires down, trying to get a man. Is that caught? Did it hit the ground? It is caught. That is a touchdown. What a play and throw. Me, oh my. The play made and received by Julian Higdon, who not only has a touchdown throwing, but now touchdown catching, did some type of a wheel route concept, and what a catch. That is pretty close. I thought initially that might have hit the ground a little bit or assisted with the catch, but they're ruling it a touchdown, and now they are just 2 points away from tying this game late here in the fourth quarter after the Fallriver Dragons have been dominant from start to finish, but that timely turnover really hurt them here. But it's still not over yet for the Sackville Goones. They still need a big touchdown here. 2-point conversion. Looking, all the way. Contested catch is good. No. They're waving it off. And so it just might have been out of bounds or hit the ground, and they were looking again for Higdon, as we'll see the replay of that. Interesting. Down the stretch. Still looking for clarity on what exactly happened on that play. And so that 2-point conversion is no good, ruled no good by the refs. As Hogden, who just grabbed the touchdown, was trying to go for 2, and it's been a really good day for Hogden. Talked about not only forcing a fumble that really helped them get back into it. So he's been really doing it all. Talk about a two-way player in football. He's kind of been the Travis Hunter for the Sackville Goones team. And so they will kick it off. And since it's the NFL kickoff rules, what I'm assuming here is they're signaling they're trying to go for an onside kick. And since they are doing NFL rules, they do have to notify the team if they're going for an onside kick try. Which, and personally for me, this is no shot to this league, but I think the NFL, the part of the onside kick is not giving the opponent the advantage. And so I know the NFL is planning on adjusting some of those rules in the upcoming future to try and make it a little bit more balanced. And there's the kick, and there's the catch for trying to cause a fumble, and no. And there was a late whistle, but they're whistling it dead. Initially, you had the Fallriver Dragons that did recover that onside kick. And some barking going on between both teams, and the Fallriver Dragons have it. Not exactly sure how much time these teams do have left. But you do have the Dragon offense onto the field. I wonder if they hand it off to Liam Kays. Last time they were out there, they did have that fumble. Nope, they decided to drop back and pass it, take a deep shot, and that is contested, bobbled, and dropped. Good defensive coverage last minute as that almost was a Moss moment, but broken up by the DB back for the Sackville Goones. Yep, almost had a hand on it, but just enough presence defensively to knock it away. So now, second down. There's pressure coming outside. Just tries to toss it away and was trying to find teammate Steve Sorsenson. And just short. It's another third down. A timeout called, so we'll try this one more time. We'll take the timeout as well as you're watching this matchup produced and powered by Maritime Athletic Profiles. We'll step aside and bring it back with, this time, hopefully the conclusion of the fourth quarter. And we're back. Third down. Guard and center out there. Maybe an obvious run play, and it's a toss to Liam Kays. Liam Kays makes a move. He's still on his feet all the way down and finally dragged down after a gain of about 20 to 25 on a critical third down play. Trying to end this game thanks to the running of Liam Kays. Here we are. Fallriver Dragons threatening, trying to put the final nail in the coffin. McDonald takes a shot down and picked off. That is intercepted by Demings. Does have some blockers, trying to go outside to the right, waiting for some people to follow. Cuts it back. A timely interception. That is 2 forced plays in this fourth quarter. And that does not matter. That ends the play on the interception. And as we're a little bit confused here to see what will happen, because that is an interception. So is there a chance this keeps on going? It would be pretty theatrical and a storybook type of ending if you were to give the Sackville Goones another chance to try and get a chance to win. But it looks like that is the conclusion of the game. And even though it is an interception for the Sackville Goones, you have the Fallriver Dragons pulling up this win 20-18. So we'll have some brief post-game coverage to try to talk to Liam Kays and Mitch Kays from the Fallriver Dragons to talk about their 4-0 record to end this season for the Coastal East Aside League. So we'll take a break and bring you back with some interviews here in a moment. more importantly, your team finishes number one in the seeding. What does it mean to you to be able to compete against a tough team today? And even though it's a result in the tie, but still guys compete at a high level.
I'm happy that we won the league. I think this game could have went a little better. We had a few mistakes, but overall, I'm happy. We scored, made some good plays on defense, and winning the league is just we're the best team in the league. That's the best you can ask for as a team. Like, it's pretty nice there. Yeah.
And I do want to talk about defense because your defense played the heck of a game, especially Mitch Kays had that interception and a fumble recovery. And you talk about defense because a lot of times no one talks about that, but how much that helped you guys in staying in this and having the lead for the majority of the game?
Well, it's a big confidence booster because we're not playing on that side of the ball. We don't get to make plays on that side. So knowing we have guys that can make big plays, change the tide of a game, or get us the ball back, like that can be a big confidence booster. It makes it easier to just go out there and play without worries.
And Liam, one thing I like about this team is the amount of nicknames you guys have, and you're affectionately known as Tank. So can you give us a little bit of background of how you were able to get that nickname, Tank?
It started in Pee Wee. My friend's dad called me at one time because he just always saw people being dragged by me, jumping on me. They couldn't tackle me, so he's like a tank. They can't stop him.
So I guess the last question I'll have for you, Tank, before we let you go is because you played a really good game today again, 3 touchdowns on the ground. When you run, what's your mentality that goes through your mind when you're taking on all those tacklers, bring them down to the ground? What's your kind of mindset that you have when the ball's whenever it's in your hands?
I just like to hit people. I just like to hit people as hard as I can. That's the best part of the sport. So whoever's in front of me, better watch out.
All right, well, Liam, thank you so much for the time. Appreciate it. Go celebrate with your team. Appreciate that. Again, that was Liam Kays, the running back from the Fallriver Dragons, as it ends up in a tie 18-18, but it does not matter as the Fallriver Dragons go up 3-1 and end up winning the series. But we do have another game coming up as we do have the Dartmouth Golden Eagles take on the Halifax Pirates at approximately 8:30 p.m. So, folks, make sure to stay tuned for that one. If you're watching on the YouTube live streams, we'll be back with more coverage of this league in just a moment. Ugh, boy.